Okay, I know 95% of the people that are watching this video do not think this is cool, but I do, so I'm going to talk about it, just take up a little bit of your time to get this out of the way here. Earlier today, while I was trying to figure out what gameplays I was going to use for the commentaries that I had recorded, I realized that my NHL 21 database was empty. We finished it. A full year's worth of recording games. Pretty much every single game that I played within this video game was recorded, and the good ones were used on videos. All that is gone now, which is why this is the very first video on the channel which will feature NHL 22 gameplay. I actually haven't even recorded it yet. I'm going to finish recording this audio, then get the game installed, then make all my players, then do a season mode that I think is cool, and then put that background in front of what you're watching here today. It's going to be a wild ride, folks. Hockey Ultimate Team Season Mode, Franchise Mode, roster sharing is here, baby! NHL 22 seems like a very good step in the right direction, and I don't usually say that for NHL games. Believe me, I've been buying this series for over a decade now. So, we're talking today about the Phil Kessel trade. No, not the one from Toronto over to Pittsburgh, but the one from Pittsburgh over to Arizona. Because with the 2021 NHL Entry Draft concluding, and with the fact that Alex Galchenyuk is now an Arizona Coyote again, I thought it would be really interesting to go ahead and take a look at just how that trade went down, because all the details have been finalized, and Phil Kessel is kind of on the trade block again, so this kind of makes things a little bit interesting. He's the star of this trade here today. Phil Kessel, everybody. Everybody kind of knows who this guy is. Hot dog guy, trucker guy, whatever you want to call him. He is an NHL superstar. 34 years old, 6 feet 203, a right-handed forward who's got one more year left at $6.8 million a season. Back for the Toronto Maple Leafs, he was pretty much their top guy on a team that was considerably weak outside of Phil Kessel, and after getting sent over to Pittsburgh, he became a two-time Stanley Cup champion. He had 92 points as a peak year with the Penguins, with 34 goals and 58 assists in a full 82-game year. He has been an absolute Iron Man, playing as many games as he could. He hasn't missed a game in a very long time, if I recall correctly. And if you take a look at where things went, in 2018-19, he was still a point-per-game player. The problem with Phil Kessel was that he wanted to be played with Evgeny Malkin, an experiment that just did not work out. We had some more issues popping up after plus-minuses were really low and scoring was down as well, with both of these guys on the ice together. And it got to a point where the Penguins were kind of like, okay, we need to get rid of one of these guys. One of these guys is going to go, and it's not going to be Evgeny Malkin, I'll tell you that. So, Kessel was traded. Sent over to the Arizona Coyotes back in 2019. The trade was made in the summer, and Phil Kessel was sent over to his new home in Arizona. You can kind of see what happened with him there. He wasn't really hot to start off his tenure in the Coyotes system. 38 points in 70 games played, but this most recent season of play on a poor Coyotes team in terms of their performance, he was actually able to go out there and score 20 goals. So Kessel is back to his form of being a top NHL point producer. He is just kind of playing on a bad team, which is kind of why these numbers, albeit not really as impressive as they had been before, are still somewhat impressive, contextually speaking. The trade, though, was a pretty big one. I remember I was eating ramen with my friends and I had to step out of the restaurant, record a vlog on my phone, and upload it onto YouTube without a thumbnail. It was Phil Kessel, Dane Burks, and a 2021 fourth-round pick from Pittsburgh to Arizona in exchange for Alex Galchenyuk and Pierre-Olivier Joseph. Let's go over some of the pieces right here, starting off with Dane Burks, the fellow Penguin to Coyote included in the deal. Burks is a 26-year-old defenseman, he's 6'2", 201, right-handed, who's playing for the Wheeling Nailers in the ECHL most recently. He has been an AHL, ECHL guy his entire career so far, professionally speaking. And when it comes to potential into cracking an NHL lineup, I mean, it's tough to go out there and really predict because these kinds of profiles really don't bode well into projecting into NHL caliber players down the line, but he was included in this trade, so we will continue with that. Next up, the draft pick. This was the final piece of the puzzle that the Coyotes received in this move. 2021 fourth-round pick from Pittsburgh. It was 122nd overall. The Arizona Coyotes with this pick selected Rasmus Korhonen out of the Finnish Liiga development system. He was playing for the Porin Asat last season. He is a goaltender, actually. 6'5", 201, a left-handed guy born in October of 2002, obviously from Finland, playing for the Porin Asat in 2020-2021. He had 2 games played where he had an 8.0 save percentage and a .562 goals against average. He was 1-1-0. In the SM Liga for the U20 guys, though, he was actually pretty good. A 218 goals against and a 908 save percentage in 17 games played as an underage goaltender. He'll be looking to go over to the Mestis this year with the Hermes team. So he's not really projected to going over to the full-time Liga, probably just splitting the load between the second-tier league as well as maybe some extra time with a few international squads over there too. Let's go over the scouting report for Rasmus Korhonen over here on Dauber Prospects. Korhonen, 6'5", he moves well for that size, and he's efficient in his net. His dad was a pro goalie himself, and is now one of the most highly regarded goalie coaches in Finland. This is a long-term prospect for Arizona. He will start coming this season for Hermes in the Mestis, Finland's second-tier league. He also does a good job at taking away the lower portion of the goal when he drops down on the butterfly. Now that is pretty much the trade when you take a look at the assets that the Arizona Coyotes received. It's finalized now because that 2021 fourth was used. But the Pittsburgh Penguins in return got themselves a little bit of a haul as well. Alex Galchenyuk was sent over, and he's quite notorious because he's back in Arizona. But with the Arizona Coyotes, he was a pretty capable 41-point in 72-game guy. He was sent over to Pittsburgh in this Kessel trade, and he absolutely did not mesh well at all. They thought, oh, this could be the final top six piece we need. You need an extra guy for Malkin, you need an extra guy for Crosby. Crosby knows how to play with players who aren't really top tier and make him great. Can he do that with Galchenyuk? No, he could not. 17 points, 45 games played for Alex Galchenyuk. He was sent over to the Minnesota Wild in, the Jason Zucker trade? Galchenyuk was then used for the Wild in their short playoff appearance in the bubble. Didn't do anything. He was half a point a game, though. Then he became a free agent and signed over with the Ottawa Senators. Was sent down on waivers. He went unclaimed. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs took a chance on him by saying, okay, you went through waivers and you passed. Let's trade for you now so we actually have the right to send you up and down to the AHL, NHL without having that entire waiver process all over again. And guess what? Galchenyuk wasn't bad with the Leafs. 12 points, 26 games played, but in the postseason, he actually had a pretty good series against Montreal, aside from the Game 5 pass to Cole Caulfield. He was alright, 4.6 games played. He was not tendered another year with the Leafs, though, as he was a free agent, and then he signed back with the Arizona Coyotes. He's got a one-year deal at $750,000. Quite oddly, he's playing with Phil Kessel now, which is going to be cool, I guess, because they were traded for each other a few years ago. The last piece of the puzzle, though, the remaining piece of this trade that the Penguins still have is Pierre-Olivier Joseph, 22 years old, left-handed defenseman, 6'2", 185. He's got one more season left, 863 is the cap hit over here, and he has always been regarded as this good, smooth, puck-moving, quick decision-making defenseman who's got a really projectable skill set at the next level, especially with the way the NHL is trending in its direction right now. Let's go over onto the scouting report over here in Dauber for the look at what Pierre-Olivier Joseph was at the time of the trade. His mobility and transition game are excellent, which helps him to jump into the play when his team has the puck and run a power play. It also allows him to react defensively, helped by an active stick and a solid hockey IQ. His challenge will be to strengthen his 6'2", 161-pound frame. He'll have the time in the AHL to accomplish that and dial back a habit of taking bad penalties. He has 3 years on his entry-level deal. Well, guess what? He's 185 pounds now, so he did kind of fill out that frame a little bit more. Adding 20 pounds in the span of 2 years definitely isn't child's play right there. But as his career has gone on with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, it wasn't really the best start. He had mononucleosis beforehand, and he was traded a bunch in the QMJHL. It was not really too smooth in his development profile back here, but once he actually went over to Wilkes-Barre Scranton, things got a little bit better. After arriving in the deal that saw Phil Kessel go to Arizona a few years ago, Joseph has gone from a solid first year in the pros with Wilkes-Barre Scranton to starting in the NHL for Pittsburgh. Injuries early in the first season gave him a chance to make his debut, and he hasn't looked back since. He's played top minutes, had tough assignments, and he was producing well offensively. He became the 7th rookie defenseman in franchise history to record 3 assists in a single game in a 5-4 OT win against the Rangers on January 30th. He had 5 points in that 16-game stint with the Pittsburgh Penguins last season, and he's pretty much one of the top, if not the top prospect, in a prospect pool that is among one of the worst in the entire league. You have a whole bunch of draft picks that got traded away from the Pittsburgh Penguins because they're trying to regain and sustain their playoff hopes with Crosby and Malkin and Letang and all of them, and Pierre-Olivier Joseph is one of the guys that is still sticking around here, even after all those trades have been made. If you want to take a look at what happened with Alex Galchenyuk, well, we already made a video talking about the Jason Zucker trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins, how they acquired him for Galchenyuk, and how the return for Minnesota was actually really, really good. It was Carson Lambos, if you map out the draft picks, and Kalen Addison, too. Yeah, good stuff there for Minnesota. But either way, the Penguins still have Zucker. We'll see how he plays this season, but one thing's for sure, when it comes to the other part of the trade here, Arizona's the team on my mind that I'm going to be paying attention to more. Phil Kessel and Galchenyuk playing together. Sounds like a weird mirror reversal kind of situation over there, doesn't it? Either way, though, talk to me in the comments what do you think about this trade and the details being finalized. Check out ExpressVPN for the best data encryption VPN service technology on the internet. I use it myself. It's a very useful tool. And if you're a fan of this YouTube channel, you can go ahead and click the link in the description. Figure out how to get 3 free months when you use our link. Let me know in the comments if that works out for you. But also tell me as well what you think about this entire situation. Minnesota, Arizona, Pittsburgh, Phil Kessel, the trade being finalized, etc. Who wins this trade at the end of the day? Pittsburgh acquired themselves a few games of Alex Galchenyuk, traded it away for Zucker alongside of a whole bunch of other stuff. They still have Pierre-Olivier Joseph today. Kessel's in Arizona still, but he's probably going to get traded soon. It's just going to be cool seeing him with Galchenyuk. And the other assets the Coyotes acquired in that deal, long-term assets, if anything, if they even make the NHL one day. Long-term assets for sure. Let me know in the comments all your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this Rosén. I gotta go and make some NHL 22 gameplay and use it at the background of this video, eh? And bye.